Welcome back to The Actuality. I am your host for this journey. My name is Josh Wallace. I'm the GM for The Soul's Direction, and I'm joined once again by my cast of four wonderful Vislae. Kelton, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. I'm Kelton. You can find me on the internet as Fesnerax with a PH. My pronouns are he, him. I'm super excited about this game. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you. Chris?
I'm Chris. You can find me around as Synth or Synth_TM. Pronouns he, him. Can't wait to see what we get up to today.
Thank you, Chris. Joanne?
I'm Joanne Wallace, the loving and wonderful wife of Josh Wallace. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on the internet as Corsana or at Angel Citadel.
And last but definitely not least, Jeff.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff, he, him. I am on the internet as Jeffrey Boring or RJ Vaden 3, and I'm real excited to play today.
All right. So jumping right in, last time we split up. You had Billy and Albion went to a maker bar and tried to find out some more information about the multiphasic compass. And Billy tried to charm the entire bar with his music. And Sterling and Claire went to attempt to find out more information about the author of the particular book that you guys had found, the stories of the Arabast. And that person was Orisard the Architect. And they met with a somewhat peculiar individual named Soman, a member of the Cadadran. And so now you spent your day and you can return back to your homes and do whatever.
Well, I imagine that with my newfound information regarding alchemy, Albie's gonna head home and get to work, tinkering around with some ingredients that he's procured to see what he can make. And he spends his time for the next few days kind of lost in his work, and kind of goes underground, so probably nobody hears from him for a few days at least.
Okay. Working backwards, Claire, what are you doing?
Claire would have a discussion with Sterling about the information, and then after they had parted, gone back and helped put together the play that her ghostly crew had decided on.
Okay, couple of questions. At the end of last session, the individual that you were with, Soman, mentioned you knowing a particular individual. Were you going to share that information with Sterling or no?
Yes, that's what I meant. I'll have a discussion with Sterling about the dude claiming that I know this person, even though I don't really know the person. because I don't remember much other than the fact that I remember seeing green eyes in shadow.
Okay. And then the play. What's the name of the play that you guys are going to perform?
My ghostly group will be performing a play from the Book of Plays that I got at the library called Selective Secrets, an Ode to the Arbalest.
The Arabast?
Yes. I know English today, maybe tomorrow.
Okay. Selective Secrets and Ode to the Arabast. All right. Chris.
I am
Claire's
going to.
Claire's had a conversation with you. What are you going to do?
I am going to hunt down some journeymen at the college. I'll probably head by one of the main offices and see if I can procure one
Okay.
or two.
You are lent a short, somewhat portly individual by the name of Winette. Wenettete.
All right.
And he seems very eager, like really, really eager to do whatever it is that you need done.
I'll kind of look at him. So the kind of usual request in this is like as we're walking out of the main office and I'm sort of walking toward the library. This isn't your usual kind of request, but I need a bit of research done, a bit of digging through papers. If you need access to something, I can probably get it to you. I've got connections.
Sounds good. What do you need me to research, sir? Huh?
I want you to look into. Glad you're eager. I want you to look into the connection between some specific individuals and an object, if any seem to exist. The names you'll be looking for are. I kind of flipped through my notes. You are looking for an Orisard, a Kudash, and an M.
Ace starts taking notes. Orisard, 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 and
Kudash,
Kudash.
Kud.
Kudash. I know that name. What doesn't he live in that mansion over in River?
Character. I thought it was the Strange Glass.
Was it Strange Glass? Yeah.
I don't remember either. So I'll tell him I think it was the Strange Glass, but yes, he does live in a mansion. Some knowledge has started to unfold since then, and big story. It was something I just need investigated. Oh, and a Fargor the Whisper. So make sure you got Kudash, Orisard, the guy in the Strange Glass. If there are multiple, there could be multiple. Kudash isn't it's probably not uncommon. M and Fargor.
M as in like
The letter.
The letter M?
Yes. That's all I have, unfortunately. Have you used the systems here before? I assume you have.
He looks at you like you grew a second head. Yeah, I've used the systems here.
You never know with some of the journeymen. They act like they have no idea. So you should be able to search for specifically M and not bring up every document that has the letter M in it. That would be unfortunate for you. And since I know they normally don't have journeymen searching, mostly filing, here's a few crystal orbs, and I'll pass him like 10.
His eyes get really big. Wow. Thank you. I've never
got
been
nothing
paid
better
for one
to
of these
with them.
jobs before.
I know. Normally I wouldn't, but this is a very important request.
Okay. He will go to the summary records area and begin working on massaging those searches in a meaningful way. It's going to take him quite a while.
That's perfectly fine. It gives me time to do something else.
So yes, what else are you going to do?
I am going to seek out Phineas, actually. And then we can go ahead and cut to Billy real quick.
Okay. So let's go. You're going to go to Phineas. We'll go to Billy next. And then we'll come back and deal with you and Phineas. So Billy, what are you doing?
First thing, and this is more of just a GM question, I'm going to be testing the waters with some of the characteristically vague wording and invisible sun texts. So my ability, it's so open-ended, which is wonderful, but also confusing sometimes. So my ability treasure from the deeps just says I think about something that I need. I spend like the whole night in the deeps of sleep looking for it. It has to be a mundane object, meaning not magical, I presume, and relatively small. But it's so open-ended that I'm going to treat it just like that.
What are you bringing back?
Thinking ahead, I'm going to try to bring back like a ticket on a sunship or multiple tickets on a sunship to the Gold Sun, or failing that, like information on how to get there. It could be an article or a book or whatever I can find, because that's something that we're going to have to do, or I'm going to want to do in the relatively near future.
Okay. I will say that you are not actually able to find tickets for the sunship, not because you couldn't carry them or anything, but they're not mundane.
Okay.
However, as far as like a book on how to do it or something like that, absolutely, you can totally find that.
Okay. Just something for a little bit of help.
Yep. Not a problem.
And then I don't know if we want to, gloss over this, but I was going to maybe connect with like my mentor or some of the people from my Weaver cell, and actually have an in-depth conversation about like their memories from before Shadow, because I don't have any, and I haven't really dealt with it. I've talked to this party about it a little bit, but I haven't dealt with it. And there's some people in my Weaver cell that are definitely more knowledgeable than me.
Sure.
So this is related, but like a much more personal sort of thing. I want to see. I did invent the mentor person, by the way.
Okay. So here's the real question. Do you want to play that out here where the group can hear, or do you want to do that in a side scene and we can just record that and upload it later?
For the purposes of the stream, it might be more interesting to do that later. It could be an interesting conversation. I don't have any concerns about like keeping it private or things like that, but it might be more interesting for the audience if we skip over it, make it bonus content kind of a thing.
Sounds good. So for the purposes of the stream, we're going to assume that you've done that now.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing that a couple of times in this session. So we're going to assume that you've already done that, and we'll play it out later in much more detail. But
and one of the things I'm looking for is if anybody knew of me before Shadow. You know, pre-war, during war, if there's any record or any knowledge of Billy.
Okay. So the short answer is no. They did not know you or who you were. The long answer is that while that's not particularly, or while that's not particularly common, it's not completely unheard of. There are, or there have been, and they're all okay. I knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy who, they're all those kinds of associations, but they've all heard of people that have come from Shadow back to the actuality that don't seem to have been in the actuality before.
Okay. Is there any, just by chance, mention of the other anomalous thing, which is other people having knowledge? In my case, I dreamt about the actuality from Shadow, and felt that it was more real than Shadow. Is there any stories I run across of people having similar experiences?
Yes, there are many more of those, and it's still not a ton, but when compared with the other one, there are many more of those.
Okay. Interesting. And then, details we can deal with separately.
Yeah, we'll come up with details later. So back to Chris. Sterling, you are now with Phineas. What are you wanting to do there? Chris, you there? You are muted.
What degree is Phineas?
Phineas is a second degree.
Okay. So I'll kind of go up to him. Oh, hey Phineas. I've got a lot going on right now, so I'll try to keep it quick. I'm sure you do too. He's probably not doing anything.
No, he's absolutely not doing anything.
I'm sure you're absolutely busy too. Who did you talk to get to second degree? I passed my tests this morning, so think it's about time.
Oh, you just have to find any second degree Vance, and they can help you.
Second, it used to be third or something, I think. If it's second, now that's great for me.
Second can point you in the right direction, yes.
Okay, so can you help? I know I already owe you, but we can always just tack on the debt, I suppose.
Yeah, of course.
So now I owe you a super big favor. not just a big favor.
Well, I mean, I think we're up to like 5 or 6 of those, but
Well, we'll get those in due time, I promise. So, would you be able to help or point me in the right direction?
yeah, I can help. And he'll sit down with you and begin walking you through what he knows about um, the expanded mind that a second degree Vance has. So he'll explain the Vancian theories about spells at that level and things like that, and he doesn't do it very well because it's Phineas.
Yeah.
But after, probably twice the amount of time it would have taken anybody else to do it, you get the sense that you understand a little bit more about how Vancian magic works, and like you could actually do what he's talking about.
That's all wonderful information, Phineas. Thanks. Do I need a sponsor or anything, or should I just talk to somebody?
Um, as you continue to advance in the order, having a sponsor is probably something you're going to want to do, but um, I'm far too busy to do something like that. So,
Of course.
not that he could sponsor you anyway at second degree, but
I could just try to get Mom to do it, I guess. That'd be the easiest way. Or
yeah,
do you think they've thought of that?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some clause somewhere in the Vancian codices that says one way or the other whether or not you could do it, but that's like thousands of pages long and in legal terms, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. No harm in trying, I don't think. I'll ask her. Thanks for the talk.
Of course, of course.
And hey, I owe you.
Yes, you do.
I'll walk out just kind of laughing.
All right. So, as you walk out, you notice a what's the word, like a poster that's been put up for a play, and it's at Claire's home, and the play is the oh crud. Yes, you did write it down for me. Selective Secrets, an ode to the Airbast. I have too much information to go through. Yeah, I know. But I've got 8 Discords open. All right. So yes, Selective Secrets, an ode to the Airbast. And as you're, it's just out on the street, right? So appears to be just an open invitation to come.
Do I know that the actors at her theater are ghosts?
Yes.
Would I know that by now? Okay.
Yes, you would.
I'm gonna do a little advertising for Claire. And I'm just gonna stand next to this flyer. I'm gonna use Moradiv's egregious etiquette and start screaming about, to me, how awful and like scary ghosts are. And how much I absolutely would hate going to something like that. But it comes out as probably the best rave review of that theater. And I'll spend the sorcery cost to keep it as well.
You do that, and as people are walking by, they you see them kind of slow, and they're listening to you and kind of looking between you and this poster. And as they pass, you can hear them occasionally say, "We should go see that. That sounds like a really good play."
How many people do I attract?
We're gonna say that you attract. How long are you doing it?
Probably a good. When's the play? Is it like tonight, or is it like
No,
in
it's
a
several
couple
days
minutes?
away.
Okay. Probably a good like. Thinking about how long I could go on shouting like that. 15, 20 minutes.
You're guessing that you probably attracted 15, 20 people.
Okay. Not bad. And obviously I'm interested in seeing the play in a couple days. So I'll mark that down on my calendar.
Okay. Albion, you have spent time in your plane, and through various smells and smokes and things like that, you've probably managed to concoct some things. Why don't you tell us what you've concocted?
Albion has been working diligently on pushing the limits of his understanding of alchemy, and has created 2 potions. One is an ephemera object that allows the drinker to understand and communicate with someone or something they wouldn't normally be able to communicate with. And I'm calling that a polyglot potion. And then the other potion that he made is a bit more substantive. It's not an ephemera object. Whoever drinks the potion will gain the ability to cling to walls and climb the walls like a spider. And I'm uncreatively calling that a spider climb potion. So there we go. But he's feeling pretty proud of himself. He has not done much beyond level 1 effects in the past. So this is him feeling pretty excited about his achievements.
Awesome. When that's all done, do you come out of your home again and go out? Do you do anything, or you just kind of kick back with a good drink and bask?
He keeps a little liquor in his house, but he doesn't like to drink alone. And so he probably goes out, looking a little rattier than before. Little spots in his wool jacket and his ties, where he's splattered himself with caustic ingredients and.
We're doing science.
Yes. But he doesn't seem to notice or mind, and is back to his old shenanigans. He goes out to Zero's, and he and Rainey go out for some drinks. He orders a couple of indigo martinis, and one of them sits mostly untouched. Every once in a while, someone might notice that it's slightly lower than it was before, but otherwise has been sitting on the countertop without anyone picking it up. While he sits and chats with his invisible companion and introduces people to Rainey, who he thinks seem like good people to know. Does he meet anyone interesting?
Actually, yes. There is a young lady. She is also sitting at the bar, and what you notice about her is that her dress is made, or appears to be made, I should say, out of words. They're shifting and crawling all over the material and appear to be changed. So, like when one of them runs off the hem of the dress, another one sort of appears at a different hem, so that the words are constantly shifting, not just in movement, but in total sum content. And as she's drinking, you can hear a very quiet mutter. Her lips aren't moving. She's not talking, but it's almost like someone or something is reading her dress aloud.
Okay. Well, ma'am, how are you doing this evening?
She smiles brightly at you. I'm doing quite well. How are you, sir?
I'm always doing pretty well. Can't complain. My friend Rainey here was just remarking on your dress. That's a beautiful design. I have not seen an effect like that before. As a maker, I find it very interesting. Where did you find such a thing?
It was part of the effect of the changery.
Oh my, yes, that does make sense. Are you a Vislae?
Well, yes, I am.
I assumed you must be. Most folks don't come to Zero's without at least a little affinity for the arts. What's your specialty?
She picks up her glass, and you see dancing on the top of what appears to be a martini, a small blue flame. And as you watch, that flame forms into the image of a dancer. Not like a lewd image or anything like that, but a ballerina. And it's dancing all around the surface of the water and doing pirouettes and things like that. And then it vanishes. I dabble in fire magic.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Fire is one of the elements that I find to be most interesting. It's very, very potent as a catalyst for much of the work I do. However, it also has been the bane of my existence a time or two as well. Looks down at his jacket and lifts up the sleeve of the jacket, and you can see where it's just been kind of singed back. He says, I could fix this, I suppose, but it's a visceral reminder of the need for caution when dealing with such things.
She raises her glass and chuckles good-naturedly and takes another sip.
Well, what's your name, ma'am?
Alate. Alleyt. Alate.
Elate. What a lovely name. My name's Albion.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Albion.
And Reynard here, gesturing to the empty stool, is my friend. We've been companions for some time.
She kind of leans over and peers around you at the stool, and then looks up at you and looks back at the stool and looks up at you. Really?
He's a very thoughtful sort of fella. Always getting into trouble, but appreciates meeting kind and thoughtful people in particular, but really all sorts of people. So here we are, meeting people.
I see.
Elate. Well, Miss Elate, and I pull out a card and I say, if you should ever need to reach out to me, here's my card. Now, use this number, not that number. That's the old number, you see. But I'm a maker, and if you should ever need to commission something, I specialize in alchemy. But I fear my time here is drawing to a close. I need to get back home. There are a couple of things cooking, literally cooking, that I need to ensure don't explode. You must understand.
Of course, yes.
It has been such a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I do hope to see you again.
I occasionally frequent zeros. You just may.
I put my hat on and tip it, and then I tip it towards Zero, or at least the bartender.
Yep.
Whatever the bartender looks like tonight. And I say, as always, the drinks were terrific. And Rainey and I head on out.
She watches you go and kind of stares at the card. And, is all you hear. You don't. There's no words. There's no just.
Yep. I fully don't expect anyone to ever reach out to my sweet little weirdo.
All right, Claire. You are helping ghosts get ready for play.
Yes, I am.
Talk to me about how that's going.
Claire is currently 2 bottles of wine in.
Is it helping?
Some. She is currently watching the short one, David, argue with the taller one, Frank, about the fact that he should be the giant instead of David.
Okay.
And no, I'm not a logical discussion or, yeah, he's not giving this one up. He wants to be center stage as the giant.
All right. So that goes on for a couple of days, at least initially, and then they finally seem to settle down and agree on something. You're not sure what it is they agreed on, but the fighting more or less stops. And they managed to put together a halfway decent production by 2 days before the play is supposed to start. You see several, they're almost mini stories, like vignettes, okay, that talk about different Arabast. There was a actual weaver, and I don't mean a weaver like Billy's a weaver, but a weaver like a cloth weaver, named Wemamar, and they supposedly created the stars as a blanket, or at least helped to create the stars. You're not quite sure, whether that's a literal or a figurative or something like that. There's one about Redent, the gardener, and it sounds very much from the story that the origins of the green lay with him. Just these little pieces, and the ghosts are putting them on, and it seems to be going okay.
Claire will just be imbibing and enjoying and offering encouragement and the occasional suggestion. Because Claire isn't going to get in the middle of a ghost fight. She knows better.
Don't bring a Claire to a ghost fight.
Exactly. Don't bring Claire to a ghost fight.
All right. So that's ongoing. Are you doing anything else in the meantime, or are you spending all your time with them?
Claire is most likely spending all of her time with them, ensuring that the flyers get sent out because they're cute but they're ghosts, and ensuring that the place is clean and everything's ready for this big event that's going to be the biggest production these guys have ever done.
Okay. Billy. So you come back with the knowledge of how to acquire tickets for Sunship. There is an office that you have to go to, but it's fairly common. You pay a fee, and the Sunship ticket is personalized towards the individual, which is why you couldn't bring one back. It's admit one once. So
good to know. Good to know. I mean, I'll share that with everybody. Do I know about the upcoming play?
If you have gone out of your bombshell at all, yes.
Well, yeah, I went and talked to Weaver Cell, and I probably played a gig or two.
Okay. You've seen posters all over Fartown.
They'll probably get an invitation from Claire herself because they're her friends.
Okay. You have an invitation for Claire too.
So I think before that happens, just quick little side scene. I think Billy is going to go and find Claire. I have an idea to run past her.
Okay, go for it.
So yeah, this could be whenever during this downtime. I'll just go to the theater and I assume find her in the midst of drinking wine and tolerating the cast.
Yes, she is not quite 3 sheets to the wind. It's more like 2 1/3. But there is a troop of ghosts on the stage, and up in the rafters with the lights, and behind stage with costumes, and there's a ghost orchestra down in the pit, and so there's a good 100 ghosts in this theater right now, working like nonstop trying to get this ready. And the poor usher is wandering around behind them all with his little broom and that little dustpan, trying to clean up after them. Even though there's really no cleaning up after them, but it's what he does. So that's what he's doing. And Claire is sitting 3rd or 4th row, kind of in the middle, and she's got 3 or 4 empty bottles of wine next to her. In fairness, they weren't all drunk today. She just hasn't picked them up yet, and has gotten kind of attached to them. And so when the usher comes to take them, she gets him to leave them alone because wine and ghosts, and yeah. And so you walk in.
Billy,
Yeah,
lovely, come have a drink with me. It's hard, but it'll help. And she'll pour you a glass.
Perfect. Yeah, he just plops down in a seat next to her, his feet up on one of the seats in front. Takes the wine happily. Thanks for that. How's it going? Is it going to be any good?
You hear her start doing some sort of mix between laughing and crying. Just
Yeah. Okay. Got it. You think there's going to be much of a turnout?
Yeah. I think it's going to be standing room only because somebody's been talking about it, and I've had several people stop by to confirm that it's going on.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think about inviting Kadash?
Sure,
There's a lot of questions I'd like to ask the guy, and he seems pretty forthcoming. But I couldn't say I trust him. But it would be a chance to maybe, just observe him, make some casual conversation. Maybe we could see if we want to have a real conversation with him and how much we feel comfortable revealing. I have a feeling he knows a lot more than we do.
Sure, we could do that. I'll have, there's space in the balcony. That's where I was going to have you guys sit with me in the balcony. As far from this chaos as possible. And she's going to make the same noise again.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the side scene. We can move on.
Yes, Claire is very trashed.
As you guys are talking, you're kind of absently looking at the stage, and you notice one of them seems to notice that you're there, and she points at you and rushes over to one of the other ones and starts whispering in her ear. And all of a sudden, there's a group of about 20 or 30 of them that are whispering and pointing. And it's loud enough with all of them talking that you can make out What about the other one? Did she dump him?
Why are they like this? Are they always like this?
What a hussy.
Good grief.
Yes, they are always like this.
Well, now I feel Albion's pain.
And I have to live with them.
Oh, good for you. At least you got wine.
This is true. And she's going to refill her glass and take another drink.
All right. So after, let's see here. Albion, you're done with your potions. You're going out after a couple days. You get an invitation from Claire about the play. As do you, Sterling. It comes to Phineas's address, but eventually you go back there and you find it. It takes about 3 days for your journeyman to get done doing his search. And the search comes up that Orisard and Fargor are not mentioned at all in the Vancian library.
Interesting.
There's no mention of a person named M either. However, Kudash, on the other hand, has done quite a few research papers and books about illusions and the art, the science, the methodry of seeing through them. And those all appear to have come with him as the lead author, but they have been sponsored by not the Vancian College, but the Order of Honed Thought.
Okay. Some good detective work there. Yeah, that's some good detective work there. Did you happen to see anything on the topic of souls at all during the research, or no?
No, I mean the Kudash guy, he didn't really talk about souls at all. It was all illusion and truth and true seeing and things like that. There's nothing about souls. Not at all. I didn't see anything like that. Nope.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
I assume at this point he just hands me like a big laundry list of the books he wrote and
Yep.
papers.
Yep.
I'll definitely look into all of these. Thank you.
What you do notice is it appears that this journeyman was up for 3 days.
I believe it. I've done it. I can't blame him. I kind of pat him on the shoulder. Next time, remember to drink a little bit of water while you're doing that. It's fine if you spill it too. They can fix it right up. They'll glare at you and forget your name the next day.
Water won't keep you awake. Water won't keep you awake. That's not going to be good enough. That's not going to be good enough. You need lots and lots of coffee.
You have to drink both.
Mm-hmm.
You have to drink both. Otherwise, that's not good. Anyway, thank you, Wynette, was it?
Yes, Wynette. Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. If you ever need a favor or you advance to first degree, maybe I can help you sometime.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
I can try.
I'd appreciate that so very, very much.
Maybe I can even teach you a spell somehow. Probably not, but it's
His
worth
eyes
a shot,
get really
right?
big.
It's worth a shot.
So you send him off, and the doors of the library open, and he walks through them, and almost immediately he collapses face first on the ground.
I wish I could do something for him. I'll get a glass of water and just set it next to his head for when he wakes up.
He's snoring. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's loud. It's obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll check out a couple of the papers that Kudash wrote.
True to his word, they are for the most part about illusion magic or so-called gray magic, and not so much the creation of, although there's a couple that talk about it from a strictly theoretical standpoint, like this is how you should understand how gray magic works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not this is how you make gray magic. It's very much this is how you defeat gray magic. This is how you look through an illusion. This is how you see truth through lies. This is how you counter somebody that wants to hide something from you.
This is exactly what I want. Yeah, this is perfect. So yeah, I'll get some copies of the papers.
Okay. And realize that none of these are actually spells.
It's advice, more like.
It's all research. It's all very high level doctoral kind of, I'm writing a thesis and it's 300 pages kind of writing. But it's not like The Infinite Soul of Vislae. I mean, you can read this and you can sort of piece together what this is saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in your language, I guess is another way to put it.
Okay.
As a scholar.
That's perfect, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely exactly what I want to have, so I'll check some of them out, and I'll probably do the same as he did and spend 2 days straight just poring over the papers.
Okay.
Maybe take like an hour nap.
An hour nap. So that will carry you to the day before Claire's play. Claire's ghost's play. Are the four of you going to get back together before that event? Is there anything in particular that you guys want to do, or?
Yeah, I would like to get back together to let Synth and Albia know that we invited Kudash, and maybe we have a little powwow. Decide what if we want to just if we want to talk to him, what we want to ask, if anything, etc.
Okay.
Do we know what order Kadash belongs to?
You don't, but it's not like it's a secret. Kudash is a weaver.
Are we at a gathering now?
If you'd like to be, where do you want to gather?
The theater?
Okay. You all show up at the theater. And Claire, what are you doing? Are we still drunk?
Yes, we are. We have moved on to something stronger than wine. There's a brand new bottle of scotch sitting next to her, and she's moved up to the balconies because her in-season servant got mad about the wine bottles. So she's sitting up in the balcony drinking shots of scotch. But at least she's sipping it instead of just chugging it.
Okay. So as you, as the three of you approach the theater, you see in the garbage collection areas, the typical garbage collection areas off to the side, there are several very, very large bags piled up against the wall. And as you're walking by, a gust of wind catches and it clinks, almost like glass on glass. Billy, you're guessing that you know what that is. The other two of you that.
Okay, Billy is guessing that, but what is Billy guessing?
They're very large trash bags of empty wine bottles.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
Lots
weirder than that. Gotcha.
And lots and lots of empty wine bottles.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. I feel like perhaps we might need to go to a changery to get a new liver for our friend here. This is an impressive feat. I'm no stranger to the drink myself, but this is perhaps a bit excessive, even.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I think Claire has discovered that alcohol produces all the effects of drunkenness. So let's go see what kind of state she's in, shall we?
Oh my. Absolutely. Let's do this.
You walk into the theater, and the usher's kind of standing there and glancing up at a side staircase almost disapprovingly.
Excuse me, young man. Could you help us find Claire? We're friends of hers and come by for a call.
He points up the staircase that he's looking at.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Albion reaches into his pocket and pulls out just like 3 glass orbs and tries to tip the ghost.
He reaches for them and then stops. And it's like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
Well,
It really doesn't do anything for me.
I bend down and put them on the ground and say, "Thank you, sir," and walk toward the staircase.
You guys walk upstairs and you find Claire in one of the balconies. The door's open and join her. And she is sipping at a fresh bottle of scotch.
Now, look, Claire will actually pour the scotch into the glass before she sips, because to do otherwise is uncouth.
Indeed.
Fair enough.
Indeed, that would be very true. Claire! How are you?
Drunk! How are you?
Concerned. It's good to see you.
She seems fine.
Come,
I mean,
drinks.
you look ridiculous if you drink, you look ridiculous if you don't drink, so you might as well drink.
That is very true. Come, sit, have drinks with me. And she will
Don't
probably
mind if I
pour
do.
out 3 more glasses of scotch, and then, oh yes, the foxy fox, and she'll pour out another glass of scotch and set it to the side.
Okay, maybe she's had a few.
Reynard is in regular fox form at the moment, and so Albie bends down and places the glass on the ground next to where he's going to sit, and then takes his own. Says, "So, Billy, I feel like you wanted us to get together here."
Yeah, so I know we all have questions about Kadash, maybe questions for Kadash. So Claire and I invited him to the play tonight. Seems like it's going to be busy. I don't know if he's going to come or not, but we could try talking to him. I don't know how much we want to reveal. I don't know how far we can trust him. Right now, I don't trust him at all. But I think he knows quite a bit more than we do about what's going on here, and it's an opportunity.
Well,
The moment you finish that, Sterling comes like running into the theater. He looks properly trashed and disheveled. There's like a tear in his robe. His hair's like up instead of down. And he like just starts running into the theater. He looks up to the balcony. Sorry, I'm late. You see him carrying like a thick stack of paper.
when he gets up to us, Albion will just sort of reach out and pinch his garment where the tear is, and will mend it with temporal adjustment. We'll send the garment back in time to fully as far back as he can send it, to when it's the freshest and the least worn out, up to and including a year from this moment, and says, that's better. You look quite smart now."
Oh, thanks. Oh. He like picks up the bottle of scotch and just has a swig from it and sets it back down. Oh.
My drinking buddy! And Claire is going to just put her arm around Sterling. Yes! Tonight we drink a lot.
Oh boy.
It seems you're already there.
Just getting started this hour.
It's always good to think about a start and an end. Anyway, I heard Kudash. I've been looking into him the past few days. Let me see. He riffles through all of the paper. Sorry, just the more knowledge I get, the more fragmented everything seems. It doesn't make any sense anymore.
What do you got?
Kudash was not connected to M at all. Riffles through a few more papers. And we couldn't find dimensions of them. I show you my notes and it doesn't say that at all. It says that he wrote papers on seeing through illusions. But, like, it's scribbled pretty badly, so I don't know how well you can read bad handwriting. It looks like doctor writing.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Billy can probably read that fairly well.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
Yeah, he wasn't connected
Anybody
to M
could.
at all, and we couldn't find any more instances of him in the library, I don't think. But the paper says it's got, like, research on counteracting illusions, papers on seeing through gray magic, and that they were sponsored by the Order of Hone Thought.
Wow. Isn't that on point? I mean, I'd say it was a coincidence, but again, I don't believe in those anymore. At least not here.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
what's
exactly
up
what
with-
I'm looking into. So, sorry we went ahead and invited him without asking you to, but he's coming. So, is there anything anyone thinks we should ask him or shouldn't say? I mean, I have my own questions. I could just ask him about shadow and gray magic and all of that, since I have questions about that.
I'd love to look more into all of his research. Also, for your questions, I have, like, dump about 50 pages onto you. I learned all of that in the past 2 days. I don't know if you care to. I'm not in a state to explain what it is.
Sure.
I'll be
I mean,
honest with you.
out of character, Billy is super interested in that because it might give him information about why the hell he doesn't remember, and why, all of his questions about his weird shadow experience and why he didn't exist before it and stuff like that. So he's super fascinated by that. Whenever this scene is over, he's gonna pour over those overnight if possible. But in the meantime, what do you guys think? Should we have a chat with him? Should we just a casual talk? Is there anything we really want to ask him?
Feel like if you have any real questions for him, whether we can trust him or not, we make ourselves useful to him. He's
There you
likely
go.
to make himself useful to us.
Right.
I mean, he's a businessman, it seems, and there's no higher calling than utility to a man like that.
Sure.
More favors.
I guess my question beyond that is there anything? I know that pretty much everything we've learned is vague and opens up more questions than it provides answers. But is there anything we don't want to reveal to him? I mean, looking into
Questions
the
I'm asked
Erebus
is-
could be a dangerous thing to do. I don't know. We're asking questions about the war. Seems if you ask them to the wrong people, you could open some doors you don't want to open, if you know what I mean.
That's a fair point, but we could always proceed gingerly and see how he responds. I don't remember much about the war myself. I remember that I was a soldier, but
The four of you make a perception check for me.
indeed.
Yeah, bro.
Am I good at that? I am not. Okay.
Nor am I. But I'm
gonna use a bene
Put
for
a-
that.
Me too. For a 5.
Can I do not remember. Can I use as many as I want?
No, you can use one. You do not
Okay,
have a
I'll use
secret that
one
lets
then.
you use more yet.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's a 9, and then plus the bene.
Okay, so 10.
Rolled a 1.
Awesome. Okay, Claire,
What?
you are drunk. You don't notice anything. Albion, you are busy making sure Rainey has enough scotch for his tastes. And so you're looking at the floor.
Mm.
Sterling and Billy, however, you both notice that the rehearsal has quieted down. And you look down, and about half the cast is gone. The other half looks really irritated.
Hey, Claire? Is that normal? I point to the
Yes.
stage.
Yes, they are. Sometimes.
Does your cast leave the theater?
Not typically, no.
No, not typically. Except when they're upset with me. Because I
I've
won't
got
let them
bad
have
news.
a duel till dawn.
I have bad news for you, Miss Claire.
They've left the stage.
Approximately half. And it's a big crew, isn't it?
Yes, yes it is.
I am going to immediately use Eyes of the Overworld.
Okay.
I can clearly see things that are invisible or obscured for a round.
And you're just going to look around?
I want to look through the stage and just kind of like look around the theater as
Okay.
a whole.
You cast that, and you start looking around, and you turn around, and there are about 8 heads peeking around the corner of the door that leads to this balcony.
Is it cast members or is it
Every
new
one of
people?
them.
I'll kind of look over. Are you guys having fun?
She's got 3! That's not fair! I want the one with the fox.
Raynard, they can see you. That's something.
Do you guys really not have anything better to do?
Oh no, no. Ghosts rarely have much interest in going on. In spite of the fact that they wanted to stick around, they don't usually have much to stick around for.
You do realize we have less than 48 hours before you're supposed to be producing your play, remember? I'd suggest you get back to practicing rather than worrying about my love life.
You just want them all for yourself.
Damn right I do.
Evil hag. And they all wander back downstairs and go back to the stage practicing. Except every about 30 seconds, you see one or the other of them looking up and just kind of glowering at you. Like, how dare you?
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
One of the younger understudies catches your eye, Albion, and kind of blushes and winks. You're presuming that that's the voice that you heard out in the hallway, but you didn't see who it was, so you can't quite tell.
I see. Albion tips his hat and looks away, turns back to the conversation at hand. Well, if Kudash is going to be here, I suppose whatever questions you have that you think are important are worth asking. I
Well,
don't imagine Kudash is going to offer any information that's beyond what you ask, and so I think that telling him anything that you've learned is
well, it
really
seems to
only
me,
well, I feel like anything that you tell him should only be used as leverage to get more information.
yeah, you're right. I mean, I think what we're trying to do here is establish a connection between Orasad, the architect, Kadash, for whatever that guy is, Fargor. Um,
Hmm.
it all seems to be connected. He's got to know something, but it's not exactly like I want to lay all those cards on the table. We could be wrong. It's a presumptuous thing to say. However, I am curious about his research, and maybe between the two of us, we can get him talking. That's where his interest lies. Maybe we can find like a subtle way to throw Oasad into the mix and see what he says. Something like that.
It'll be just like dating. Hook him in with something he cares about, and then just lay it all on the table.
Yeah, you got the idea.
I don't
Well,
see a reason to keep any secrets from him. Any questions we leave unasked is just knowledge wasted.
Right. I don't want to make him uncomfortable. He seems a little too forthcoming, too nice. I don't trust people. I like people, but I don't trust people.
good way to live. Very good way to live. Well, I feel like laying everything out on the table might put him more on edge than anything. It seems as
Let's just
though
bait him and see where he
the
goes with it.
Arabast has been a subject that puts many people on the edge. So maybe we should hold off on that and see what comes.
Sounds good to me. So we bait him. I can talk to him about illusions and gray magic and what have you, and maybe we throw Oasad in the mix, but leave the Arabast out of it for now.
Maybe talk about his order a little bit, the Order of Home Thought or something. See what we
Yeah,
can get.
well, he's a weaver, and so am I. So I could talk to him about. I could talk to him about that. I could talk to him about Shadow. Maybe we play a little Spiders game later if he's interested. Something like a plan.
I just fear if we leave out the Arabast, we won't get the information we need.
Well, let's at least feel it out first.
Worst comes to worst, I can probably just, I don't know, sweet talk him a bit. I got a few ways of doing that. Hopefully I can keep my mind straight during it.
Well, I think between the four of us, we can do some pretty mean sweet talking.
All right, so we're going to seduce Arabast seduce Kudash into giving us information.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We will find out what happens after the break. And we're back. Thanks for hanging with us. So, Albion, Billy, and Sterling, you have gone to the theater and discussed with Claire your devious plans to get Kudash to spill all his secrets and compart all the knowledge. And then you go home. And Claire, you are home since you live at the theater. So you go to sleep, and tomorrow is the play. Sterling, you wake first. Plays in the evening, so you've got all day. What are you planning on doing?
No, with a new day, I'm surprised I managed to sleep. I'm probably hopelessly trying to organize all of my loose notes and hoping that the event today isn't right now.
Okay.
By wake first, what time is it? Roughly.
10 or so in the morning.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was like dark out or something.
No, it's light.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably just spend the morning trying to get my notes together. Trying to make sure that I have most of my information straight. I probably won't, but it's worth trying.
Okay. So before we start dealing with what you see and what you experience, we're going to do a Sooth card. And the Sooth card is the Hunter. The Hunter is of notions, cats, clocks, and wind. It means nature, death, conflict, survival, and seeking a goal. The Hunter is a lonely scout pursuing prey with dogged tenacity. Their single-minded dedication is why they are successful in tracking, confronting, and killing their prey. The Hunter knows better than anyone that it is kill or be killed in the harsh world we live in. In the city, we pretend civilization has lifted us above such things, but the Hunter travels into the wilderness where no such delusions exist. But that's not to say that there aren't hunters in cities. On the contrary, there are hunters who prey on people. Sometimes these hunters seek murder, but some hunt with other goals, just as dark. The Hunter is the adept of notions. Her skills in the wild and her knowledge and her prey and her knowledge of her prey and the best way to bring it down make her the match for any Vislae. So, because that's the adept, we're going to play another card on the next sun. And that card is the tyrannical clock. Notions also: oppression, time, countdown, schedule, and repetition. We live and die quite literally by time. It rules our actions, for we have no actions without it. We struggle to accomplish what we must by a certain time, or we face grim consequences. We eat, sleep, and even breathe, measured by the movements of the clock. It is our master, it is our enemy. Okay, I'm going to say once again, I love this game. I absolutely love this game. Okay, Sterling. So you wake up and you're putting together your notes. Billy had said that he was going to take and look at at the notes that you brought. I'll get to that in just a second. You, as you're as you're working, putting together papers and things like that, you hear a noise from outside. It's some people talking. Through the window, you can't really hear what it is, but there's definitely voices outside your window talking.
Okay. I guess I'll have a. Do I have a window?
Yeah, you do.
I'll have a look out the window. I'll just try to peek, but not make myself too visible.
Out on the pole where the notice was for Claire's play, there is a city, a cleaner that is removing the notice.
Removing the flyer for the play.
Yep.
I'll kind of open the window. Excuse me. I don't believe it's time to take down those flyers yet.
The man looks at you, and he's got this expression on his face that very much says, "Look, I just do what they pay me to do."
Is they the college?
No, it's the city of Saturnine. You daft.
Then I don't know if it's time to remove that flyer yet on campus grounds.
He pulls out a small scrap of paper and he holds it up and looks at it. No, that's definitely on my list of things to do this morning. He puts it back in his pocket. He takes the flyer and he crumples it up and he puts it in the garbage and walks on. The people that were standing around were are still talking, and the conversation tends towards, I was looking forward to seeing that play. Now what are we going to do for a date tonight?
The play is still on, no? I'd look over. Still hanging out of my window.
Who are you asking?
The people that were talking, just all of them.
Well, he just took it down.
Wouldn't mean the play's off. Yeah, I surely doubt it means the play's off. I was just talking to the theater owner yesterday.
They kind of shrug and gesture at the now empty pole and sort of wander off. Billy, you spent the night, I'm presuming, going over Sterling's notes.
Mm-hmm.
What specifically were you looking for?
I was looking for really anything that lines up with my mysterious past, my seeing shadow, seeing through the illusion of the gray, and my not remembering what happened before, only remembering shadow, like anything that lines up with that in any interesting ways.
Okay. The latter part of that, with the not remembering anything before, you don't find anything. Mm-hmm. But looking through shadow and seeing the lie that shadow is, there's all kinds of stuff. He talks about that a lot.
Yeah, I would like to learn more about how I did that, and then it'll give me something to talk to him about too.
So the bulk of that kind of information centers around the idea that the shadow or the gray, he theorizes is not actually a natural state of existence, that somehow the lie is not the opposite of truth. Ignorance is. The lie is artificial. And so the shadow is not a natural state, but some sort of magical effect like a spell. And just like you can find a way to penetrate other spells, you can find a way to penetrate the shadow. And some people, in his experience, have a easier time doing this than others. They have an affinity for those kinds of workings, for thinking in a way where that spell doesn't affect them the same way it affects other people. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's kind of how Billy's mind works. I will just this bit of role-playing sort of information. Billy thinks, at least traditionally, that the drugs, the whatever pills, whatever injections and things like that given to him in the asylum and various hospitals and stuff were the thing that was perpetuating the illusion or the virtuality. And so he's also going to look for mentions of things like that, like basically drugs and treatments and things, because when he, for the few times that he wasn't being put on some kind of medication or whatever, his dreams were more vibrant. His ability to see the actuality was stronger.
So oddly enough, there is one paper that he wrote that deals with something like that. And he mentions that there is some evidence of certain alchemical concoctions that can suppress the natural ability to see through lies. Not that boost that spell. It's not the magic doesn't work in that way. It works to reduce your ability to resist, not to boost the capacity of the magic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes way more sense that way. Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly what he was looking for.
So yes,
are there can I glean from it that like this is a drug or something that is like actively manufactured or like distributed in any way? Is it a thing that exists? Is there like somebody that makes it?
Not that you can see from that.
He doesn't mention it.
Those papers.
Mm-hmm.
You get the sense though that it's not something that people make. Mm-hmm. Not that you can't make it, but that it's not something that is made. Like you can't go to Saturnine in a store and buy this stuff. It's, if you're going to make it, you're going to go get the reagents for it. You're going to put them together and you're going to distribute it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I think, that about covers it.
Okay.
For me.
So you probably get a few hours of sleep, and then what do you do in the morning?
Let's see. It plays in the evening. I'm gonna sit on the tail fin of my haunted bomb and look down over Fartown and practice my trumpet. And just kind of think for a while.
Okay. Albion.
Yes, yes.
What are you doing in the morning?
Mostly sleeping in. Gets up, does a little studying, organizes his laboratory, and gets ready for the play. Kind of looking forward to it.
Okay. Back to you, Sterling. So you you're hanging out the window and the people walk away.
Guess I'll just climb out of the window and see what's
Okay.
going on.
The sign's taken down.
I'll grab the flyer out of the trash, I guess.
It's not, so he's got trash.
Oh,
with
he's
him.
got his bag.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you look, you see him, I don't know, quarter mile down the road, pulling another sign down off another pole and putting it in his trash can.
I'll try to catch up to him and just walk with him to the next one, not saying anything. Probably trying to stay kind of unnoticed behind him.
Okay.
Just follow him to the next pole.
Do you want, go ahead and make a stealth check?
Alright, I am skilled in it. I do
Go
have
for it.
a level 1. And would that be physicality? Or another, or movement?
Let's go with movement.
Okay, I'll also throw in a bene. Rolled a 5, so that makes it 7.
He doesn't notice you.
When we get to the next flyer, is there anything different about it?
No. But you do notice that as you look around, down another street, there's another guy that is wearing a similar uniform, and he's got a garbage bag, and he appears to be pulling the sign off another pole.
This time I'm just gonna stand in front of the sign. Just in his way. Like, I'll push out in front of him, make myself known, and just stand there, not saying anything. To where he can't get to the sign.
He looks at you with this pained expression. Really?
I'll just nod silently.
Come on, dude, it's just a job.
This is just a play that she's been working hard on for the past, 2 weeks. That hasn't even aired yet.
And apparently it's not going to, so the signs need to come down. It's public property.
I'll wait until I'm notified of that.
I just notified you.
I'll wait until I'm notified from somebody more official that the play has been cancelled.
Whatever. And he walks past you to the next pole.
In my mind, I'm tempted to keep doing this at every single poll. The thought happens. Let's see. I'll do it. I'll just keep bothering this poor man. Okay? So I'll do it once. And then I'll think about it and head to the theater. But I will bother him one more time.
You see him ball his hand up in a fist, like he wants to punch your lights out. And then he thinks better of himself, and he walks on to the next pole.
I'm gonna go head to the theater.
Okay. You are walking down the street that the theater's on. And about a half a mile before you get there, there's a small cafe. Maybe 5 tables inside and 3 outside. Those kind of metal wire chair type things, and the tables are really small. It's almost like it's almost a coffee shop, but they also serve little snacks like scones and things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sitting outside at one of those tables, as you're walking by, you see Claire. Claire, why don't you describe how you look?
Claire is sitting there. She's just kind of staring straight down at her cup, stirring the coffee. There's soot all in her hair, a streak of it across her cheeks. Her clothes are in tattered, and one of her hands looks fairly badly burned.
I'm gonna run over there. Claire, what happened?
It's gone. It's all gone.
What's gone?
All of it. The theater. My ghosts. They're all gone. Even my little servant is gone.
It's at that point that you look up, and down the street, you see a very thin plume of smoke.
What happened? I see the smoke, but what caused it?
Thaw. There were 7, 8 of them. My neighbor was mad. He was yelling. I got pushed out the window, and there they were, and he was yelling about ghosts having rights, and he was gonna tell, and then they grabbed him and shoved him through a wall. It's gone. It's all gone.
I'm just gonna sit on the floor next to you, punch the ground a bit. Should we get everyone else? I don't. It's too much. What?
You guys might get in danger too.
We need to figure out what's going on.
They had one of the copies of the book, the plays. They had one of the copies of the book. It's gone, Sterling. Everything's gone.
Whatever's happening, it's gotta be bigger than just you. We'll rebuild the theater. We have to talk to everybody else. We'll have to get them.
okay.
We'll get everything fixed. We'll have to.
They're gonna bulldoze it. They said they were. There's no rebuilding. Without the theater, I don't own that property anymore.
We'll see about that. Sterling gets up, dusts himself off, and just holds his hand out to Claire.
Claire will just kind of take his hand and let him pull her to her feet, and she'll just kind of fall up. I mean, you can see the evidence of the fact that she's cried, but she's still in like so much shock that it's like not registering.
I'm taking her to Billy's place. I don't know. We need to get everybody.
Okay. You lead her through Fartown to the bomb.
Do I see them approaching on the street below?
Yeah.
And from that distance, can I tell that she's a wreck?
I'm probably trying to carry her at this point.
Probably not.
Okay.
You're pretty high up that wall. I mean,
yeah, I am. It's true. They know what to do. In that case, I just like kind of wave.
I don't wave back, but I'm definitely heading like toward your house. Guess we'll take the quick way up.
You take the quick way up.
Pull the chain.
Hey, Billy, I don't... Kind of look back at Claire. The theater... It's gone.
What the hell happened here? Is she okay? You okay, Claire? You hurt?
She just kind of looks at her hand and looks at him and is like, it's all gone. They're all gone. I can't even summon
hold
them.
On.
Those damn thaw.
Okay. When she does that, I grab Claire's hand. And well, I start a weave, and I grab her hand, and I weave together recuperation from sleep and the softness of moonlight to put her at ease. And hopefully help her focus, possibly.
All right. Go ahead and roll that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, are you just going to let that happen?
Yeah.
All right. Then don't worry about it. You feel calmer. I'm not going to say you feel calm, but you feel calmer.
Mm-hmm. What the hell happened to the theater?
The street was a ghost town. I remember that. I remember thinking it was odd. I was out on the balcony like I normally am, having my midnight stare at the moonlight, and the street was so quiet. I smelled the smoke, but I didn't think anything of it because my neighbor's been blowing himself up all day. And then I was pushed, and I grabbed from the balcony, and then my hand was burned, and the entire theater was on fire. Like an explosion. And I landed, and I'm pretty sure I hit my head, but I looked, and there were 7, 8 Thaw, maybe. I remember Albion calling them Thaw. They were the red cloaks with the golden heads, and there were 8 of them, and my neighbor was screaming. He was so angry, and he was waving his badge and kept saying, "Ghosts have rights. That's wrong. You can't do that. They get sent to the Pale. This is against the law. You're wrong. You're bad. This." And then he said he was going to tell Queen Yalad, and they grabbed him and shoved him in a wall, and then they were gone. I tried to summon them because, I figured they could at least tell me what was going on, but none of them answered.
And just to be clear, the Thaw didn't even try to bring you in to take you. They just...
One of them was holding a copy of the book, the playbook. It was, I remember seeing it because it had that gold binding, that weird binding that the ghosts were using, and to make it more tangible for them, I guess. And he was waving it slightly, and then they were gone.
Starling, did it seem like anybody was following you two?
I kind of think back, did it, or was
No,
there
not at all.
No, that there wasn't a sign of anybody left there. I made sure before we left.
I still don't like it. We should consider laying low for a little while. We should find Albie.
Yeah, I wanted to let everyone know. It's probably dangerous, but at this point it's bigger than the 4 of us, whatever's happening.
I didn't think Saturnine was exactly the kind of place where people would be burning books in the street, but it doesn't seem like we're too far from that now. Claire, you good for a little ride?
Yeah, I think so. We have to warn him.
I agree. So we're gonna find Albion. I might have some idea, depending on the time of day, if I think he'd be at home or if I think he'd be at like Zero's or somewhere. I'm just gonna guess. And
it is still morning. He is probably still at home.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Zero's doesn't really open until mid-afternoon, so.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're going to hop the train.
Yep, gonna hop the train to the Fade. Look for his plane.
You head to the Fade, and it takes you just a little bit, but you find his plane. It's kind of hard to miss. One of the biggest objects there, except for maybe some of those roller coasters at the Haunted Carnival. But you could go there too if you really want. No, we don't like that. No, okay. Anyway, yes, big plane.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we walk up and just knock on the door, however that works.
There is a knock at the hatch.
Yeah. Albie comes to the door, pops it open. There are little stairs that lead up to the entrance to the plane, And he he's kind of a little more disheveled than you've seen him in the past. He generally is fairly well put together in public, but it's still pretty early for him. So he's looking out and says, well, my goodness, what a pleasure. We have company. Well, won't you all come in? We're having breakfast right now."
Yeah, we need to talk. We get inside, make sure Claire has a place to, like, sit down. She still needs to gather her thoughts.
Okay.
We might be in trouble.
Oh,
Looks like the thaw exploded Claire's theater or disappeared it.
oh my
Burned it to the ground.
goodness.
Yeah, they
Well,
burned it. It was still smoking when I found Claire. It seems like it might have been premeditated. They already knew to take the signs down.
And
For
they
the
took the
play.
book, right? They took the play. The play
They
was
took
about the Erebast.
They took a copy of the book.
Right. And here I was afraid to talk to Kadash about it. They already knew. This isn't good, guys.
this calls for a bigger breakfast than I was about to have. I walk to the kitchen, and I suggest that we're gonna need as much coffee and grits and bacon and fried eggs as it can put out. And my kitchen starts producing just copious piles of food.
Billy is very easily distracted by this, and a little less gung-ho about laying low just this minute. He never
Piles
thinks
of
down the
biscuits and bowls
Oh, yeah.
of gravy, and
I'm
it's
all over it.
yeah, it's just a big old breakfast. Now, Claire, what were you inside when they burned down your theater?
I was on the balcony.
How did you get down?
I fell? Or I flew? I
Oh.
don't. I remember getting pushed. And I grabbed for the banister, but my hand, and then I hit my head, I think, and I looked up, and there were thaw.
Wait a minute. Who pushed you? Was it the thaw or somebody else?
I don't know. I didn't see. It was dark, and then it was like daylight, and the whole street was a ghost town. That's the most disturbing part. Is it wasn't quiet, it was loud. It was like an explosion, and nobody opened their doors. Nobody looked out the windows.
Sounds like somebody didn't want you to go down with the ship, and if it was the thaw, that's pretty interesting.
Either that or they got what they wanted.
But then why push her out?
Perhaps it was one of the ghosts.
Yeah, I'd like to know who did that.
Well,
If it was the thaw or a ghost, then we've got two very different stories. One's a nice one of sacrifice, the other very worrying.
well, I suppose if you need to, you could stay here. There's a cot in the back.
I just don't know how serious this is, but I'm afraid it's pretty serious. Which means more than likely all of us are implicated.
And that was their first piece of evidence.
It does seem as though it was a very dramatic and strong reaction they had to such a little thing as a play that barely mentions the Arabast.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that that whole nobody talking about the war thing is very much by design.
I try to think back on the war and my time in the service. What is that like?
So, when you're thinking about what you think of when you normally think of the war, you're thinking about time in shadow. You're thinking about your service in the military. The war that they're talking about is completely different.
Oh no, I was in that war too.
Okay. You try and think back to that war, and the memories that you have are completely disjointed. You get like an image here and an image there and an image here, but none of them are connected. It's like there's no cinema. It's just still photos. You as you hear the description of what Claire is talking about, however, you get two distinct memories. Again, still images, but memories. One of them is of a building, a completely different building. You don't even know what it was, in a neighborhood or something like that, that was razed to the ground while everything around it was untouched. The other one was a regiment of pale soldiers that went into battle and were killed to a man. And these are all dead people.
Yeah, I'm trying to recall the war, and I get those images. I feel like it starts to hurt my head
Very much
as
so.
I'm thinking about it, and I kind of grab my forehead and shake it off and say,
Billy, you will notice him do that, and it reminds you of something that you just read last night. A reaction to trying to see through lies naturally causes nerve pain because of the dissonance that you've got what's essentially magical senses and your physical senses, and they're at odds. your magical senses want to see the truth, and your physical senses want to believe the lie. And so because they're at odds, the nervous system doesn't know what to do, and it hurts.
Did I glean anything from his writings about how better to sort of pierce that veil?
There are some hints at some ritual magic that can be used, but for the most part, the papers that the Vances kept of his, partly because he's not a Vance, and partly because he didn't write any that you know, that you know of. They're all theoretical in nature. They're all research. There's no spells. There's no magic. It's not like a grimoire or anything like that. It's very much this is the theoretical concept about why this happens. Now go do something about it if you want to deal with it.
Just to summarize, I'm going to share some of that, like what I think about his writings, and ask Albion if that's what he thinks is happening, maybe. And I'm also just now in character. I think maybe it's time we went and had a chat with Kudash. But first, does anybody think it's safe here? I don't feel safe anywhere. They know who all of us are. I mean, maybe they're just trying to send a message, but given what he's writing about, I don't know who else we could talk to.
I
Maybe
will
he can
state,
help us all remember.
I will state by way of clarification, okay? The movie poster, the play posters did not have Claire's name on them. It was not her play. It was the Ghost's play.
Yeah, what I'm thinking though is that if somebody like Kudash randomly knew enough about us to invite us to his party, the horrifying shadow government of Satyrine probably knows a lot more about us than we would like.
Potentially, yes.
But Billy is paranoid, so it's like he's been through this before. This kind of thinking.
Fair enough.
He's ready for the fascism. He looks for it everywhere.
I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that the trail, if you go strictly by the physical evidence, the trail does not necessarily lead to you guys. The trail led to the theater, and the theater's gone.
My poor theater.
Well, we can't take the thaw head on. That's for sure.
Oh, come on.
We'll have to gamble on one of our connections. Anything we've got, we'll have to gamble somewhere.
At this point, my money's on Kudash. After reading all of that, I'm surprised they didn't go after him.
We can't know they haven't.
Fair.
It'd be an awful thing to ask to. Hey, have you been captured by the thaw?
You been captured by the thaw recently?
I say we gamble and talk to Kudash. He seems more informed than any of us. Unless anybody knows where M is.
I think you're right. I can't imagine that any of this is unrelated to either the play about the Arabast or trying to pierce the illusion that might have settled over Satyrine. I don't like this at all.
No.
I
Reminds me of Shadow.
Reminds me of Shadow, too. Reminds me of the side I was fighting against.
Yeah.
Well,
Reminds me of our side, but yeah, I mean after reading what Kudesh published, I think I feel a lot more comfortable taking a shot at it.
indeed. And I don't think he would have made himself available to us if he didn't think we were worth knowing and worth utilizing at some point. So at the very
Yeah.
least, he could probably be persuaded to part with information if we were to do him some kind of favor.
Well, should we all go?
See why we wouldn't. I don't want to leave
What do we
Claire
have to do?
here.
Me neither.
And I don't feel like she's probably in the state to really discuss what's going on her own.
Shakespeare.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What if the plays are like Shakespeare? These are pre-war plays. These are plays from before the war. What if there's stuff in the plays that's truth hidden in sarcasm, like the Shakespeare's plays, the way he would make fun of the houses when he did the plays, you know?
Are you talking about satire? I
Yes.
assume I assume if your theater was targeted, uh, and it was because of the play, which it certainly seems is likely, that's almost certainly the case.
I'm pretty sure it's a given at this point.
But what
Do
we need
you-
to learn is what is the truth that they're trying to hide from us.
You said they took a copy, right?
Yeah, the ghosts, they don't sleep, so they decided that they'd make a copy and then they'd make a whole bunch of copies
Where's the original?
in my bag. When they gave it back to me, I put it in my bag because I didn't want it damaged.
Do we go to Kudash first or read the play? And find the truth?
Claire, have you already read the play?
I've read all the plays. I mean, most of them are just. She pauses and it looks like she's trying to just. They're like. But, you know, the origins, like where people came from, and a lot of satire. It's very. The ode to the Arbalest was the only one that was actually general public.
Because you guys would know what you and Billy anyway, because you both read this particular book. The Ode to the Arabast was a series of vignettes about specific named Arabast, and it extolled their accomplishments and the things that they did for creation and for the Vislae, the children of Vislae, and how they taught magic and they helped Vislae to advance the work of creation. And it's very much a narrative kind of a telling. It's not, this person did this, and this. It was, here's a story, here's a scene, and in this scene you can see so and so doing such and such. But there's this other stuff going on, and so the scene's not necessarily about them. It's just couched in that scene, if that makes sense. Almost like Orsard was trying to hide teaching inside the plays.
All right, so I think we definitely need to take another crack at those plays. And I think we definitely need to talk to Kudash. And since no one seems to be immediately following us, we don't want to raise any more attention. We should probably at least pretend like we're just going about business as usual. What to do first?
Let's gather all our information. Let's study the plays first. That's my vote.
All right, let's do it.
If there's no objection.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Clara, pull out the book.
All right.
And, yeah, Clara, pull out the book and share it with the three of them. And
As Billy studies the play, I'm actually going to do a weave.
Okay, what are you doing?
So, sight from freedom and subtlety from moonlight.
And what effect are you going to try and produce?
So I am trying to make myself more perceptive of the subtlety in the hidden meanings and so forth within the vignettes.
Go for it.
So giving myself a bonus. 8.
Okay. That's probably about a level 3 effect. So you're at, what is that, 11? You're going to spend 3 sorcery to do that. Okay. As you're reading the plays in this book, there are several that are just, or that seem to be just plays. The ones that feel like the one that they were putting on, when you add them all together, seem to tell a story of a group of beings that had been created as something of gardeners. A gardener tends seeds, and then it tends saplings, and it tends flowers and helps them grow and prunes them, and helps remove the weeds and things like that, right? And it's very much a gentle kind of a discipline. These beings seem to have been Vislae's gardeners. and they tended creation. Up to and including the Vislae. The couple of mentions of the angular serpentine were of one of these beings deciding that he or she or it or something, you're not quite sure, knew better than Vislae what needed to be done. And he tried, and in quite a few cases, succeeded in persuading others of the same thing. And so all of the interaction between this enemy thing in the plays and anybody else is very much not like martial combat or anything. It's two people. It's always two people arguing. It's always two people having a debate, or there's even one that's it's a garden play, and it's a flower and like the Saturnine equivalent of crabgrass. And the crabgrass is trying to choke the flower, and the flower is digging deep and fighting back. So that's kind of the sense that you get as you piece these plays together of what Orisard was trying to communicate.
But why would the Thaw find any of that sensitive enough to burn a theater?
If they work for the angular serpentine or whatever the hell that is. Sounds like it's an Arabast with a Lucifer complex.
That is what it sounds like.
The crow kept saying that that she could still be useful to him. So what if it's not the Thaw, but whoever him is?
I don't like it. Is anybody getting anything about what happened to the Everbast? That whole piece seems to be completely missing here.
Let me
Well, I
pour
can't
over it
summon
again.
them.
There you go.
Can I give a go at seeing if I can find anything about the fall of the Arabast in there? If there was one.
In where in the plays?
Yeah. Or like a forthcoming, or like it's doomed kind of thing.
If it was there, Billy would have found it.
Okay.
I'll just let you know that right now.
Yeah, I'll just kind of look.
With an 11, Billy would have found it.
Yeah, like I'll flip to the back of the book that it's not there.
It's not the index either.
Well, I mean, it'd surely be at the end.
There's no ad page for a part 2.
Does it
look like there was a page torn out?
No,
Okay.
It does not.
So where are we again?
You are in Albion's house.
Well, yeah, I know, but which district? Because I get them confused.
He's in the Fade.
Fade.
Yeah, Claire is going to go look out the window. Does Claire see, like, a radio station or something?
You do. There is a fairly large radio tower. Not close, but it's there.
She's going to look at Albion. Does anybody live in that radio tower?
Yes. To the best of my understanding, that radio tower is used to broadcast. I don't think it's a home. I think it's a business.
Is it used to broadcast?
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, that's the radio. Radio signal has to come from somewhere.
Yes. Yes, it does. And you'll just
Where are you
see
going
this-
with this, Claire?
My people died. They're not on the pale because I can't summon them. I can't call them. They died because of these plays. Because somebody didn't want the truth of these plays or word of these plays getting out. They brought the fight to us. Let's return the favor. Let's find a place that we can produce these, maybe on the move where they can't catch us. And she's going to turn around and she's like got this manic gleam to her eyes. They want to squash the information. They want to squash the truth. Let's slap them in the face with it. Let's take it to them. We will not be silenced.
I'm all for it as long as they can't trace it back to us. Sounds like a good bit of mischief. Throw it out there, see what happens.
They can't stop the signal. I'm sorry, I had to say
I
it.
love it. That's awesome. I think that's a perfect note to end the session on. You can't stop the signal, Mal.
Here comes trouble.
I aim to misbehave.
So, by way of housekeeping, we are going to take the show on hiatus for the Christmas holiday. We will be back on Sunday, January 9th at the same time, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern, sorry, where we will come back and figure out what our Vislae are going to do to take the fight to the enemy. Other than that, let's see. I think we have at 8:30 tonight, Angels Citadel Lounge. Come hang out with us. We're going to talk about role-playing games. We'll answer any questions you have, and we're happy to help you with your games and advice and ideas and whatever. But that's until the 9th, I think we're going to be away from this particular game. So we're hoping you come back and hang with us because there's lots more action coming. Until then, so Jeff, do you have any shout outs or anything that need to make the stream?
Not really, but Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody who celebrates.
You bet. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Kelton.
Nothing special. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful holiday or whatever the hell you're gonna do. Enjoy it.
All right. So yeah, from our citadel to yours, happy gaming.
Happy gaming.